Good evening. This is a serious little chat about seriousness of the videos we are going to produce, in all seriousness, for the Task 2 Artifacts, Commentary, and Specifications for video. Seriously. This will not be fun. We will not allow it to be fun. It'll be very serious, as it's designed to be. Okay, so Literacy Instruction, Task 2, Artifacts and Commentary Specifications video. So we have to come up with 2 video clips, only 2, we're only allowed 2, is what it starts off saying. And so of those 2 video clips, it has to be more than 3 minutes and less than 20 cumulatively across the board. Now, because they're nice, we do get an extra 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, for another video clip that is specifically showing students' language that is part of Task 2. Or we could make it part of the student samples in Task 3. Now, all children and adults in all video clips must have permission slips or consent forms, which SUNY will provide to us as part of the standard process. Video clips are able to be submitted in the following supported files: FLV, ASF, QT, MOV, MPG, MPEG, AVI, WMV, MP4, M4V.
5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, French hens, turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 9th day.
Right, so the purpose of the video clips is to demonstrate how you support and engage students in literacy learning. Now, clip 1 should be how you actively engage students while modeling the essential literacy strategy, and then clip 2, again less than 20 minutes, a second clip should show how you support students practice and apply the essential literacy strategies to comprehend or compose text in meaningful concepts. Anyway, think about whether your clip will be of the whole classroom or of just a small contingent of students. You have to have at least 4. It's immensely important that you obtain permission for all children and adults. I know I already said that, but they already said that at least 4 times. So, again, SUNY provides us all that information for us to collect, because the last thing they want is for a student's parents to come up with a letter from a lawyer that says, "How could you do this to me?" As you think about going into student teaching and working with a group of children that you know nothing about, you should probably consider the following things for video. All right. What kind of learning environment do you want to develop in order to establish respect and rapport and to support students' engagement in learning? In English, that means how you speak to your students and how they respond to you. So, going through all the stuff that they threw in there, basically when it applies to your video clips, what that means is that you have to go through them and comment and give timestamps as to, on 1 minute 27 seconds, I built rapport with Judy saying X, and Judy responded to me saying Y, and so that you just get those timestamps down and put those into your final project. What kinds of learning tasks actively engage students in the central focus learning segment? So that basically means that this should show focus on your students and how you engage them in the tasks relating to the learning goal. So we should try and plan to be engaged with our learners and have smooth transitions. So how will you elicit and build on student responses in ways that develop and deepen content understanding? Okay, I struggled with that one. And basically what that means is that we're going to highlight how we prompt the students and how we basically show that we're actually listening to them and that we're observing them and giving feedback to them without leaving anybody out. So that's basically what those clips should show. In what ways would you connect new content to your students' prior academic learning and personal culture or community assets during your instruction? AKA, during your video clip, How do you add new stuff to your kid's understanding? Then it goes on and says that within your clips, you have to do something not so much as to provide in the clip, but then you're going to be basically taking the video clips and reassessing them in the same learning process. And what I mean is, they say, how will you use evidence from your instruction to examine and change your teaching practices to be more effective? Which is basically saying, you look at your own clips, you look back at them and say, what would you do differently? And then basically you look at what you would do differently, and you use your video clips and the strategies you used, and then you have to cite and look up other information that says, okay, I would make the following changes in my strategies that I used in these video clips, and then based on this research, this is what I would do differently. And you have to also say why that would work. Remember, act natural.
That's good.
Forget that all the equipment and everything and all the microphones and everything you're setting up is the most unnatural act you could ever have in a classroom.
Ooh, that's bad.
But it's really important that you make it look natural.
That's good.
Even though if every response is not clearly articulated on video, points will be lost.
Ooh, that's bad.
Still, class should be a natural act with a smooth transition to show your combined learning.
That's good.
On which your graduation actually depends. Homer, that's bad.
Can I go now?
Right. Anyway, back on track. Now remember, the video clip must be unedited. They are very specific about that point. There must not be any interruption in the events whatsoever. So now we'll talk about how you can edit the video clip. Well, since your clips you submit, this is Making Good Choices, page 26, must be continuous without edits, you actually might need cropping software. So say your total video that you take, is 30 minutes, you can actually crop it down to the 10 minutes that you're actually allowed to use, because you have to get under that 20-minute mark for both videos. Now, if you don't have permission with a certain person that's in place, or if you're not allowed to have any of the school stationery or any of the school wording in the background of the film, if any of that sneaks in there, or there's a person you don't have a permission slip for, you're going to need software to blur that out. Now, thankfully, page 27 says that YouTube has a plethora of videos that show you exactly how to do this. In fact, YouTube can help you do this. Unfortunately, on page 23, it says you can't use YouTube. But you can use video editing software that you can find with YouTube. Or if you don't want to deal with all that junk, then I would just go to OpenShot Video Editor, which is how I've done this thing.
And they've made a tiny adjustment in their way that they're attacking Kershaw second time.
Now, it's important that you recognize that our videos are not required to be Hollywood ready. However, sound quality and clarity of picture are very, very important. You can provide a transcript of items in your video of no more than 2 pages if you have anything that can't actually be heard. Now, they actually recommend that you actually put captions in, which is an edit to the video, but doesn't count against you, if that makes sense. So, think about where you're filming. Where will the camera and microphones be placed? Because everyone needs to be heard at all times. Now, you will get hit if your students aren't able to be clearly seen and heard. It's also highly recommended that you practice your video prior to trying it out. Also highly recommended that you bring your equipment to class about 5 days prior to filming, so students actually become familiar with it and they won't be distracted during the lesson. Before submitting your video clip, you should actually make sure that you watch it. Make sure that it's showing exactly what you want it to show. Therefore, you have to read the rubric and make sure that you're matching your clips exactly with it. So you have to engage the focus learner. You have to look at what the focus learner is doing and how this demonstrates your effectiveness. Again, your rapport, your support. Watch the clips and mark off the timestamps, as we said before, for all the required elements that you need to demonstrate. And last but not least, please always make a copy. and back it up so you don't lose all of your work when it's time to focus it and send it in. Well, that about wraps it up for us here at the table here. If you have any more questions as far as what the video requirements are for the Literacy Instruction Task 2 Artifacts and Commentary Specifications, you can kindly let me or my special assistant here know, and we'll be happy to help you out, won't we?